all to the Policy Hub, an initiative by the Shahid Javed Barki Institute of Public Policy, where we discuss issues of vital socio-economic significance with developing practitioners and economists. Today we have with us Mr. Asad Bhatt, who's an economist and has served as the ex-director here at the Barki Institute. So today I would like to discuss an issue that is of vital significance for Pakistan, which is tourism. We have heard a lot about it in the newspapers, on social media. Pakistan has a huge development potential for tourism. But what exactly are the basic core ingredients, in your opinion, that we need to enhance this industry and bring Pakistan on the map when it comes to tourism?
Thank you very much, Kainat, and the Barki Institute of Public Policy for providing this opportunity to speak at this valued platform called the BIPP Policy Hub. I'm pleased and glad to be here and would want to come back here in the future as well. What is Pakistan's tourism sector? Now, there's two or three things. You talked about the vitality of the tourism sector in Pakistan and its development potential. But before I get down to that, I would want to bring two or three preeminent facts to your notice. We've been hearing this thing about the potential of Pakistan's tourism sector, and let me tell you that while it sounds cliched, there's enormous potential in Pakistan's tourism sector. The sector has economic potential, and the sector, of course, has that natural potential as well, something that people do not talk about. While it may have the economic potential, it may have skilled or semi-skilled people working there, it may have some sort of government investments that would be leveraged to make more money. But apart from that, there is that natural potential. I think these hilly areas and beautiful mountains in the north of Pakistan, the region present a great opportunity for the company. I don't see it as a challenge, because a lot of people think that this tourism sector of Pakistan is a challenge and it is work for the government to do. It's not work for the government to do. It's an opportunity for the government, because this sector can be leveraged to achieve great heights. And when I say great heights, I mean Pakistan government can benefit enormously on the economic front, and then could benefit enormously because, when you talk about the current situation of Pakistan, you see that there's a lot of misconception of Pakistan. Pakistan is a largely misunderstood country internationally. And therefore, when you talk about Pakistan's international image, I think that this sector presents a huge opportunity to ameliorate Pakistan's international image. And therefore, if you look at the natural potential and you look at this need side for Pakistan, because Pakistan does need amelioration in the international image, and then what Pakistan needs more than anything else is foreign exchange.
Very true.
And then both of these things come through this sector. What are you talked about the significance of the sector? So this is the significance of the sector, and why? I just quickly wrap this up. Why do we want to work in this sector, and why have I been working in this sector? Why have other stakeholders, the government of Pakistan and other stakeholders, been very active in this sector? It's because it's on the top of the Prime Minister's agenda. Yeah. And rightly so, like I said, it must be on top of the government's agenda. It was a sector which was largely ignored by the previous governments. And now, Prime Minister of Pakistan has put it on the map. It's high on the development agenda of Pakistan. And he wants to leverage and muster all of Pakistan's resources to, put this sector on a path to recovery and put this sector on a path to growth. Apart from Prime Minister's agenda, it's, of course, like I said, there's high potential in this sector. And I think when both of these things come together, tourism is a sector that must be vouched for and is a sector for the future.
Okay, so from this, I am assuming that the government is looking at attracting not only domestic tourists, but international tourists as well. So when you talk about international tourists coming in, how important do you think standards are? And you have to compete with regional and international tourist destinations as well. So can you elaborate on that, please?
Yes. So your question is a two-pronged question. One side is how do we attract international tourists? and and of course the need for standards to do so. And the second part of your question is regarding how does the government do that? How does the government achieve
face
it?
the competition,
And of course the competition with the regional and international players in the region and other country governments. So I'll just tackle the first part of your question, which is regarding the need for minimum standards. So why do we need minimum standards in the first place? Because a lot of the work which is being done at the district level by the tourism authorities, by the provincial tourism departments, is done quite whimsically. There was no tourism policy, and then we felt that once the government is able to erect a tourism policy and it gains some implementation strength as well, it might eventually lead to development of standards. Because a lot of this is very tangible in nature, that needs to be done on the ground, and a lot of these things that need to be done at the district level to provide a certain experience to the tourists has to do with implementation more than policy.
It's a process.
It's a process. Yes, it's a process, but it's there are tangible results that you have to achieve. And therefore, we felt that instead of doing a policy first and then backing it up with actual doable actions on the ground, which are things similar to minimum standards, let's get to the minimum standards directly, because there are other institutions across the country which were working on development of tourism sector policy. Therefore, we felt that while a lot of policy frameworks and management frameworks would be created, there is a need to do minimum standards that provide exact doable actions to the government, to the private sector, and to other stakeholders that, okay, this is how hotels should be, this is how the road infrastructure should be, this is the kind of food that restaurants should serve. These are the kind of e-mediums through which international tourists, or for that matter, local tourists, would be provided access to information. This is how they would book their tickets. These would be the plans of some entertainment events that would be done. This is the standard resume or CV, which is, of course, again a standard of a tourism sector professional, of a waiter, for instance, of a chef, hotel chef, and so on and so forth. So we provided a set of doable actions. Now, getting to the second part of your question, which is regarding competition with international and regional country governments and tourism sectors of other regional countries, neighboring countries, Pakistan. Now, we wanted to come up with something. There's three things. Now, as far as competition is concerned, how are we responding to competition? Is by creating creative cities. Is by modeling a tourist city, which is part of this minimum standards exercise, and then creating tourist apps which are built by the private sector, run by the government, projected by the government, and then propagated by the government, for that matter. And then those tourist apps would then be made accessible and available to international tourists. So this is how we want to
giving the consumers information
and then access.
Right.
Not only access to information, but access to the tourism industry of Pakistan. So that's how we want to respond to competition. And then, of course, when we adhere to these minimum standards, when we comply with these minimum standards, you would see that a tourist destination would evolve. And a tourist destination is, a sum total of the experience that the tourist has when he visits these locations.
Definitely.
So that once we are able to develop a product, which is this tourist destination, and then we're able to market it through these apps and everything, and we're able to give the international tourists an experience, I think we should be able to respond to the competition. And of course, there's a lot of, when we talk about international image, there's a lot of work that other stakeholders like Pakistan's Foreign Office and other stakeholders need to kind of chip in. But once, also the tourism industry in Pakistan, apart from developing product, it needs to come up with a meta tourism brand as well, an overarching tagline brand, like Incredible India,
Malaysia is truly Asia.
Malaysia is truly Asia. Visit Dubai and fly Dubai and all of those. So there has to be a tagline for Pakistan. So we're trying to eventuate towards that as well, where a tagline is built, and then all resources are gathered and collected and mustered under that one tagline, and that tagline becomes Pakistan's brand, which then competes with Incredible India and other regional brands as well.
That's quite comprehensive. So now we've talked about multiple stakeholders while discussing tourism. So one important stakeholder when you talk about tourism are the local people themselves. So in your perspective, what role can these local individuals from these tourist cities or destinations play, and how can the local sensitivities be taken in consideration when a tourism policy is being developed for Pakistan?
There's a great role that the locals have to play. In fact, when we started doing this work, we identified three major stakeholders and target groups: local residents, tourism sector professionals, and then the tourists themselves. So when we talked about the local residents, now they have I think they have a larger role to play in terms of protecting the local heritage and culture. And they want to do it. Let me tell you that if you talk to the local residents,
there's a sense of ownership coming into it.
There's a sense of ownership, and they don't want their culture to be kind of infiltrated upon by foreign cultures and foreign heritage. So therefore, the protection of the local culture and the local heritage is in their best interest. Then the tourism sector presents an economic opportunity for the local residents. So they are providing labor to these hotels and restaurants. So the more that this sector develops, I think there's a greater economic opportunity for the local residents. Thirdly, I think where the local residents also have to chip in is to kind of train and equip themselves to be facilitators in this tourism industry more than being just benefactors in the industry. So they must benefit out of it, but at the same time they must become facilitators. They must become agents and representatives of Pakistan, and of course at the same time of their region. Fourthly, I think where the local residents must come in is through development of local businesses, indigenous businesses that represent the local culture, that are sensitive to the local culture and heritage, but at the same time, they come up with business development strategies and entrepreneurships. For instance, souvenir shops is one prime example of this. But again, like I said, they need to be, or like restaurants that sell traditional food. Housing, of course, those facades and housing structures that are in line with the local heritage and local culture. Sometimes you see that you go to these tourist locations and some foreign investors come in, they don't understand the local culture, they don't understand the local heritage, and they build the kind of structures that are completely asymmetric to the local structures and the local heritage. So that needs, at the fourth level, I think what needs to be ensured is that local businesses are being set up, entrepreneurial activity happens. Part of this, by the way, minimum standards was that we proposed incubation centers being set up at tourist locations, which would be run by the private sector, where local industry, small businesses are being supported. I think incubation centers, for that matter, would be set up
very essential for cottage industry.
Cottage industry, and then of course, if local investors want to set up hotels and restaurants and want to set up these sort of souvenir shops, facilitation centers are very important as well, where they provide international tourists, one-stop facilitation centers where they provide information, where they link them up with tour operators and all of those. Need to be set up by the government. I think SMEDA could be one institution that could chip in and come up with incubation centers that support local businesses and industry in all of these tourist locations. Yeah.
So this sounds very intersecting when you talk about a tourism policy. When we began, it was more focused on tourism, but the more you talk about it, we realize that an element of urban planning and an element of SMEs, job generation, certification, standards, there are like multiple things involved within this process.
Right.
And it cannot be done in isolation.
So, yes. Absolutely. Like I said, you have to enhance the experience of the tourist. And when I talk about the experience, like when I explain what a tourist destination is, what we mean by a tourist destination is that it's the sum total of a tourist's experience. When he visits a place, he comes into contact with the government, he comes into contact with your road infrastructure, he comes into contact with the services that are being provided. So when you talk about all of these things, you're bringing in a very diverse set of skills. You're asking for uh, ownership by a number of stakeholders. You're asking for ownership by people of very diverse backgrounds, belonging to very diverse industries, and therefore, when you talk about all these industries, you're asking for multiple stakeholders. You're asking for a lot of participation, and without that participation, I think you cannot leverage the sector.
And with this holistic perspective, we hope that today's edition of the Policy Hub has given you a more comprehensive understanding of what tourism entails when you talk about it as a sector, and what needs to be done and what is being done currently in Pakistan to explore the potential of this entire multifaceted sector. Thank you very much. Stay tuned to our YouTube channel for latest updates from the Policy Hub.